So today we're going to talk a little bit about some changes that we've made in our paint systems. We were a PPG shop for a long time. We've kind of gotten away from that for products that I believe are better and much less expensive. So our new process that we are doing on a lot of these cars is when we strip the car, we're at bare metal, we're using the L series epoxy. So the L series epoxy, L411, 417, 418, blue, gray, black. These epoxies are a high build epoxy. These primers are gravimetrically identical, meaning that whether it's blue, gray, or black, the gravimetric formula doesn't change. You can mix these together. You can mix blue and gray to get a light blue. You can mix gray and black to get a dark gray. It's not going to change anything about the product or the formula for mixing it. These primers have excellent adhesion to bare metal, aluminum, galvanized steel. We've even used it over sand and chrome. Excellent adhesion, rust encapsulation, moisture scavengers, sands well, done shrinking in 48 hours. We were using CRE and 2050 before we started using the L series primers, and these will just about double your dry film build thickness compared to 2050 or CRE. It sands a little better and doesn't take as long to stop shrinking. Plus you get the rust encapsulation and moisture scavengers that a lot of other primers don't have. So our process is to put L411, L417, L418, whichever we choose, over bare metal. Then we do body work over that. Always want to do body work over top of epoxy. So when we strip the car, we're finishing that in 80 grit, we're going to L series epoxy. Get epoxy on the car, let that dry 48 hours, and then we're ready to start body work. It can sit longer than 48 hours, it could sit a year if you wanted to. Either way, you have to prep that before you start putting filler on it. So the L series primers, these are a 4-to-1. 4 parts L series primer, 1 part activator, 20-minute induction. When I'm using this over bare metal, I will typically reduce it with the slow reducer, and I'll reduce that about 10%. So when we prep for filler work, a lot of times what we do is most of these cars are getting skimmed from head to toe anyway. So a lot of times what we do is take a DA with some 80 or 180, and we DA the panel and we skim the whole panel. We do panel to panel. After we do our body work, we are priming again, and we're using L series primers again. We are looking for uniformity. A lot of times people will use an epoxy and they'll put a 2K spray poly over that, do filler work, put a 2K urethane over that, and then a sealer over that, base clear. So what we're doing is trying to create a uniform substrate. When we are mixing filler, it's weighed 50-to-1 every time. Everything is as uniform as possible. So we're using the same primer over bare metal that we're using over filler work all the way up to the paint stage. So like this car, the bottom is painted, the outside is ready for final prep. We have L417 is the black. This car was done with L411 originally. That's what the little blue burn throughs here and there are. We did body work over L411. We used L417 as our final prime. And this is L418 for our spot prime. Our rockers, our edges, our little things here and there. And now this car is ready to get 320, 500 back in the booth to paint. The bottom of this car is done with all of these products. So when we go into filler work and start using body filler, start blocking these cars, we are using True Fill. True Fill is a very good filler. It's very easy to sand. It's honestly probably the easiest sanding filler that I've ever used. And I really like it because it spreads really creamy. When you mix it, it's very creamy. It has the consistency of when you mix some filler and some glaze together. It has that, it will stay if you put some on and try to fix a dent, it'll stay, but it spreads like a very flowable glaze, I'll say. The work time is a little bit longer than some other fillers. It's pretty average work time, I would say, but it sands very well, and I have definitely noticed less pinholes in this versus the 3M Platinum Plus that we were using. This definitely has a lot less pinholes. With this filler, when I go in and I start fixing things, we used to use a filler and a glaze, and this is kind of both in one. I like it for filling, and I like it for fine little filling pinholes, little filling scratches, things like that. A lot of times we're not even using 80. We'll get the car straight with 80, we do 150, but if we're fixing a little something here and there, I just go right to 150. It sands great. So this is a 69 Camaro Ryan is working on right now. We just started working on this, so we're not too far yet, but we are using 411. This is 411 over bare metal and alpha filler on top of that. He's starting to do panel to panel, getting some things spread out, starting to get going on this 69. Once we are in the booth, we're gonna get ready to spray our car. We have prepped L-Series primer. We're gonna seal that with an epoxy sealer. And for this, we use AP 5511. This is an epoxy sealer that is designed to be used as a wet on wet before the base. So we're sealing with epoxy, give it about 30 minutes, 40 minutes. We come in, then we're going to our alpha base coat. When I'm using the epoxy as a sealer, I do reduce it, typically 25%. And it does lay out very nice, very smooth. It dries a little bit faster than what I'm used to, but it lays out very nice. So for our base coat, we're using the alpha base coat line. A lot of the stuff that we're doing is from the custom color line. This car is void black, which is just a very black. We have a Camaro coming up. We're gonna be doing lots of different stripes and designs on with 4 different colors. But this car is just black, everything. Black on black on black on black. So this car we're using void black, and I do typically like to use the slow reducer. This is a 1-to-1 base with reducer as a typical base coat system. This base coat covers much better than what I'm used to. With the PPG, a lot of times I was using 1683 black, and it would take 3 or 4 coats to cover. This is covered in 1 coat, I would say 2 coats max, depending how you reduce it and how you spray. But this bottom was done in 2 coats. I shut the lights off, looked over my nooks and crannies, touched up what I needed to. There's 2 coats of black on this is all that it needs to cover. So let's talk about my new favorite clear, AC 4521. This is what is on this car. It lays out very well out of the gun. This clear lays out much better than 5700 that I was using, and when it dries, it doesn't take as long for it to stop shrinking. It doesn't peel up quite as bad as the 5700, and a lot of the reason behind that is there's more resin in this and higher solids content. 4521 sands and polishes very nicely. Brad does a lot of the sanding and polishing here, and he really likes the way this sands and polishes compared to 5700. We don't get as much of the, some people call it dieback. When you buff a panel and you come in the next day and it's a little hazy here and there, maybe you got some haze on your edges, things like that. We're not getting as much of that. We are baking this with an infrared light after we paint. So just like we do with every product, every car, once this car is painted and we're gonna cut and buff, we're gonna take the infrared light, we're gonna, after the paint is dried, after this clear is dried for a couple days, we're gonna start going around it with the infrared light. We're gonna heat the panels up to 140, 150 degrees and just make sure we don't have any solvent left in our top coat system. Brad has been up here cutting and buffing for the last few days on black Nova doors and fenders. And as you can see, this stuff is just beautiful. This is 4521. This has been blocked with a hard block with 1,000 grit, and then all DA from there. So 1,000 grit, then we went to 1,200, 1,500, 3,000 DA. And as you can see, that stuff is just beautiful. It's so straight, such a deep black. So these panels were done with the exact process that we just talked about. L series primers, AP 5511 epoxy sealer, void black, AC 4521 clear. We did 4 coats of clear, sanded and polished. So when we talk about prices of things compared to the more expensive brands, the epoxy, the L series epoxies are not cheap. This is $375 a kit, which is 5 sprayable quarts, depending if you reduce it or not. All the colors are the same price. The AP 5511 is right around $95 a kit. The epoxy and activator kit is around $95. Base coats vary on color, but even for a really nice color like scorched apple or something like that, you're looking at the $500 to $600 a gallon on the high end. The reducers are around $100 per 5 liters, which is almost a gallon. It's about a gallon and a quart or so. 5 liters, about $100. And then the HS Glamour Clear 4521. This is roughly $300 a kit, which is almost 2 sprayable gallons, a little more if you reduce it like I like to do. And then the True Fill is $75 per liter, but it is a very far superior filler compared to a lot of other fillers that I've used.